We've talked about surveys in the past, and this is going to be different. We've touched upon this topic a little bit when we talked about IT jobs, but today's discussion is going to go a little bit more in depth. So let me explain how the opinion sales strategy works. To begin, we want to make sure that we understand that this particular strategy doesn't work well for strangers. And so it does work probably better than a cold email, but it's better suited for existing contacts and relationships, which is why we're using LinkedIn for this particular strategy. And so within LinkedIn, I'll send out a link, or have Katie send out a link if she can, on how to download your LinkedIn connections. But typically what you're going to do is you're going to do this directly through the Messenger tool. So you're going to do this inside of LinkedIn. Now, what the opinion-based sales strategy basically entails is this. When you're engaging with existing contacts, typically we push information. And this is different because a lot of times our messaging entails lots of different types of questions, like are you interested in UCAS, or have you thought about upgrading your phone system, or are you considering deploying remote desktops, or do you need an IT security rep? Now, of course, questions are in a way a form of an opinion, but this particular strategy is different because what you're trying to do is you're trying to cater to their ego. And so what you're going to do is, rather than you trying to be the source of information and trying to ask them if they're interested in something, what you want to do is you want to initiate a dialogue. You want to understand their world. And so this is a nice soft opening for any good discussion. So I've put up an example. If you're on the webinar, you can see it. But this is something, if I was going to start a conversation with someone, and again, you don't necessarily have to lead with the product that you're trying to sell. And this is important to remember, because when you lead with the product, it may not be the right angle or the soft point in order to get into the organization. What you want to do is you want to lead with whatever product or discussion that will ultimately lead to a long-term discussion. So in this sense, SD-WAN is still very interesting to a lot of different folks. It's still a hot topic, even though it's been around for a little while. But if I was to reach out to a contact, I would say something like this. I said, I had a quick question for you. I was working with a client who is in your industry, who is looking at SD-WAN. Have you had a lot of experience using SD-WAN at your organization? Do you have any recommendations? So this type of email will get a much better response, but not only are you going to get a response, it's not going to be angry, but you're going to get a positive response for your prospects, but they're also going to start shedding light about their organization. You're going to start learning things. It's going to be valuable. So rather than trying to talk at your prospects and trying to push them in a certain direction, the best way to lead with existing relationships is just to start asking questions, but not in the questions that we're traditionally used to asking, where are you interested in a UCAS platform, but trying to pick their brain about what's going on, what is their opinion. And that's ultimately why this strategy is so powerful, is because it goes with human nature, with helping them express themselves, helping them feel good. Everybody loves to give their opinion if they're asked for it. It helps them feel like an expert. And so you're going to start on a positive note with your relationships. You're going to get positive responses. You're going to learn about their organization. And ultimately what this is going to do is it's going to lead to further discussion. So sometimes this may end up being a dead end. Say, you know what, we thought about SD-WAN. It's not a good fit for us. And that was the end of the story. You may say to a response like that, you say, well, have you tried this type of SD-WAN, or why didn't it work? I'd love to learn more. But those kind of things can continue on, and you can just kind of continue that discussion, helping them shed more light about their problem, which is really what you're doing in the sales process. You're just using it from a different angle. Also, if they express something along the lines of, we've never even heard of that, I don't know what it does, I don't know why it would work, you could say, well, that's why I'm looking into this, but let me get back with you once I find some valuable information. And so it's good to keep that dialogue going, kind of let it flow naturally. And that's ultimately what this does, is a more natural form of engaging and understanding clients and ultimately selling them. Another example would be is you could say, I had a quick question for you. A lot of people are talking about remote desktops lately, but I'm not totally convinced. Do you think this is a viable solution? Have you had much experience with them? So again, open-ended questions, helping them kind of express, this is what I think. There's no pressure because you're not selling to them. A lot of times when you are selling to them, they'll give you the answers they think you want to hear rather than what they really are thinking. And so this is helpful to get honest feedback about what's going on. And also it's important to document this because you're going to need this in the future as you have future conversations with other prospects. Another example is, I had a quick question for you. One of my clients was asking about IT security solutions. Do you have any recommendations? So this is great for IT security. So maybe they've worked with some companies, maybe they had a bad experience, maybe they had a good experience. You could ask about pricing. So if they say, yeah, we've had a great solution, we're using it right now, you could say, well, why do you like it? How much are you charging for it? And then you could say, this is great. I have another company that does the same exact thing, but they can do it for half the price, or they can do this or that. Or you could always follow up with a question, what don't you like about it? And that'll help shed some additional light. And so those are the types of things that you want to be on the research side, wearing the research hat. But also what this does is it helps you become the sales consultant. It helps you also become the expert by learning lots of great information. This is similar to what we would do in terms of like a survey, but rather than just, if you were to send out a survey to everyone, which is a viable sales solution for strangers, what this does is if you were to send these people a survey, they may or may not respond as well as a personal email asking for their personal opinion, which caters to that ego-centric type of sales strategy. So that's really about it today. Hopefully that made sense. I think if you employ this solution, you'll have a much easier way of getting prospects to respond to you, to get the information that you're looking for, and it'll be a much more natural conversation leading to more sales.